Missing Hiker, a short free horror game available on Steam. I thought for a moment, I like horror games, and I like free games, so it only makes sense for me to check it out. I think. The story seems to be simple. We have to find our missing brother before the weather becomes too cold, as he went on a hike on a seeming winter day. Right away, I see a lot of recommended reviews. So that's a good sign. System requirements aren't too bad. You only need a small amount of storage and a bit of RAM, as well as a Windows computer or laptop. I guess my iOS users have to miss out on this one. I thought this game showed some promise, so naturally I download it. After my game finished downloading, I opened it to see this pretty cool menu screen pop up. Quite honestly, I love the glitch effect here, and the setting looks pretty mysterious. After all, there are horror stories that involve gas stations during nighttime. I don't know what it is about them that makes them so sus, but here we are. The only critique I would add for the menu screen is that the text font used here absolutely does not fit the game's aesthetic. The font I see here would be something I would see on flashy advertisements or maybe worded t-shirts, but definitely not in a horror game. Take Dark Deception for example. Not like the font used there should be the same in this game, but you see how the font the developer used here fits the game? I think that if the developer for Missing Hiker had any kind of horror-looking font for their title, that would have helped establish the game's aesthetic even more. The options on the menu screen could honestly have the same font they have now if they'd be placed in a better spot. There is a lot of dark space around the gas station that would make good room for the title and menu options to exist, in my opinion. Anyways, that was all about the menu screen. Time to actually play. So, right away, we get a little background of what is currently happening. I liked it, it was simple and right to the point. Personally, I don't like when the story starts off complicated and confusing. I feel like if there are unanswered questions to be solved, it's better to at least start off with a simple base and build up from there, because I just end up playing the game confused and slightly on edge. Oh nice, I'm in a car driving in a woody area. It makes sense because I'd expect my brother to be somewhere in a woody area. I love how the snow looks, wowee. The car driving is really nicely done, and the camera setup was pretty realistic in the sense that it feels like you're actually driving a real car. Like, I was genuinely surprised by how realistic it felt, and I would know because I'm currently learning to drive as we speak. The wheel wasn't too sensitive either. If I turned it a bit, then the car turned a bit. If I turned it a lot, then the car turned a lot. There are barely any differences as you're driving at first. There are occasional curves and signs, but that's it. When you approach the gas station, there are cars that drive in the opposite lane, which of course you won't hit because you're a lawful citizen. Right? After I reached far enough, I was suggested to park the car, and the spots to park are pretty self-explanatory. I actually did try to test the game a bit though, and tried to drive past the gas station to see what would happen. I was stopped by an invisible wall and couldn't continue driving further away, which is honestly great. Allows you to stay on track. After exiting the car, I observed a bit of the actual gas station before coming inside, and I had to say it looked pretty realistic for the most part, besides maybe the gas pump stations being a bit too small. But that isn't really important. The setting was well done. Then I entered the gas station store, probably to ask about my brother or whatever. I'd probably give the inside of the store the same comment as I did outside of it. Looks mostly realistic besides the size of certain objects. Because I'm socially awkward, I decided to ask the cashier about my brother instead of the random customer staring at the same object for the past who knows how long. You ask the cashier about your brother, and he doesn't really end up helpful because not only does he not know where your brother is, but instead he proceeds to scare you with rumors that he heard from other people. I sure love strange screams and weird noises from the dark woods where I can't see anything. Nah, but in all seriousness, it was a good foreshadowing of the horror I might encounter as I go on this path toward the mountain. Only critique here is the character design. It does look funny to me as I see a clay-shaped looking, stone-faced man with his shirt being way too tight on him. Would it make me quit the game? Definitely not. Is it crucial to the game? To me, not so much. This game revolves around myself and kind of my own journey to find my brother, so I don't find it crucial. Does it look good according to the game design itself? Unfortunately, I can't really say so because of how realistically shaped everything around me is. Though, that's just my opinion. If you think differently, let me know why in the comments. After talking to the cashier, you have to proceed along a path behind the gas station that supposedly leads to the mountain. There will be quite a bit of walking, and it's important to look around you to notice anything seemingly out of the ordinary. As I kept walking, I noticed a light in the distance, and when taking a closer look, turns out it was a tent. My character says that it's not their brother's tent, but that they should check it out anyway. To me, that's a little odd, but I guess if I don't approach the opening like a serial killer, then maybe I'll be fine. My man, you said you got scared? Imagine me after that jump scare. I felt so tense after that. You can even see my view shake because that was me jumping in my seat. Exactly! I didn't expect a jump scare at that point, so I think it was really well planned out. I loved it. You proceed to ask the man if he has seen your brother, which he gives basically the same kind of answer as the cashier did, but I guess more detailed? Yeah, sure. By your attire, that's definitely obvious. He's dressed as if he's at an office. I could never see him as a camper in that outfit. He doesn't even have a coat on or anything. It's not like he's in a car or trailer. Wouldn't he just freeze in the apparent cold around? Anyways, though, he talks about hearing a child crying and thinks it could have been a cryptid. Which I didn't know what that was, so I had to search it up. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it's an animal that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. Apparently can look like this. Interesting. The man asks if you carry a weapon, and after you say no, he warns you that it's dangerous to proceed through the forest at night. I guess that makes sense. I wouldn't even want to be in that situation in the first place. The last thing the man tells you is to not creep up on tents again, and he wishes you good luck on your journey. He says that he wants to sleep, but instead he stares off into the distance in his business shirt in the cold for a while until you reach your path. I found that part funny, but in general that doesn't really make sense. Just a tiny detail I noticed. More walking has to be done, which I used to enjoy the scenery around me. I really just love the falling snow and the overall glitch effect around me. If you just purely walk, I would estimate it's about 2 minutes of walking. It's really not too bad though, especially because you don't know at this point if there are more jump scares or not. What if there would be? Have to be prepared, you know? Then you discover this eroded part of the trail, and the character thinks about how they should set up their tent there, which I have no comment on because I have barely any experience with camping, so I wouldn't know if that would be a good tent placement or not. Damn, sounds like a skill issue, my man. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. I get inside my very well done looking tent, I must say, and I try to sleep, but then I heard something. A scream, perhaps? Uh-oh, looks like the people were right. Something really is out there. The character thinks it's their brother, which, valid point, it could be him. At first, I thought I had to go back to the trail and continue forwards, but turns out I had to go deeper into the woods. I guess it's important to look around everywhere before continuing onward in this game. After a relatively short, uneventful walk, I reach what appears to be a cabin. I notice my brother's backpack, so he definitely was there. Just on the outside, I see barbed wire all around, so that's odd to me. I guess the owner doesn't want anyone to trespass onto their property. Which, fair. The cabin itself looks rundown and creepy, like the way the window and door look remind me of a serial killer's lair or something. I don't know what it is about them, but yeah. Oh God, help me now. No way would I enter that. What the f? So I enter this suspicious cabin and start to look around. Everything seems normal at first until I stumble upon a room with a hook and blood inside. At that moment, I knew that I was going to be done for if I don't skedaddle soon. And then I enter what I assume to be a kitchen and see this piece of meat on a plate and, yeah. I think you can assume what happened with the brother. It's not clear cut though. Maybe it's all a big misunderstanding. At that point, I didn't know what else I had to do, so I figured I had to discover something to keep the story going. It wasn't obvious, which I kind of liked because anything too obvious would have been boring. After a few minutes of searching around, I finally realized that there were pictures on the table that I have to look at, and that was what drove the story forward. So the owner took pictures of my tent and car. Which, nice, I sure love the idea of getting stalked. I didn't know if there was anything else I had to discover, so I searched the cabin a bit more before I decided to dash. Unfortunately though, when I opened the door... I died a tragic death. In their last moments, the character probably realized what happened to their brother and knew that they will likely share the same fate. So, that was Missing Hiker. Yes, the game was short, but there were a few bonus features I'd like to add. One of them is that if you do end up crashing into a car in the beginning, you end up getting an achievement which states that... well, you get it. The other is that if you decided to be a social butterfly, you can earn an achievement for talking to the customer in the gas station store. If you observe your brother's backpack near the fence, which, why wouldn't you in the first place, you get the third and last achievement. Lastly, do you remember the random tent in the woods? You can end up just skedaddling forward, which I find funny. Like, the character's thinking about checking it out, but you're just like, nope, not today. Overall review? Because the game is free and doesn't require a lot of system requirements, in my opinion, the fact that it's short doesn't matter all too much. It's good if you want to spend 10 to 20 minutes on whatever, just trying the game out, and then maybe goofing around. The main title screen needs some work with the text, but the setting is amazing. The settings in general, with the glitch aesthetics, are great. No complaints there. The character designs definitely need some work, but they aren't that crucial to the game. The 2 jump scares were great and unexpected, at least for me. I just wish there could have been maybe 1 or 2 more. I guess it's alright that there were only 2 though. The plot was pretty generic, so it's not like the game went out of its way to be hella creative, but I think the game was interactive enough for that not to matter as much. I think those are the main points I want to make. Out of 5 stars, I'd probably rate this game a 4.5 out of 5. I believe if the game would tweak certain aspects and maybe more themes would be added, then I could rate it a 5 out of 5, why not? I'm not out here trying to be a harsh critic after all. Alrighty, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching all the way through if you made it this far. If you're curious about what I plan on posting on this channel, I will say that I plan on posting more game reviews mainly on newly published games. They can be horror, adventure, RPG, you name it. If there's a particular game you'd want me to review, however, you may write it in the comments section. I'll take your recommendation into consideration, even if the game isn't exactly new. This is my first video, so don't expect my content to be 100% perfectly laid out, as I'm kind of trying to get more into editing and all that shiz. But yeah, if you like game review content and liked what I had to offer in this video, then feel free to subscribe and like this video. It lets me know that what I'm doing is actually entertaining and fun to watch. And with that, I'll see some of you next time with another video. Bye!